Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, Kingdom Builder Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. And today we're going to be taking you into a fantastic world of Kingdom Builders, right? Whether you refer to them as MMORTSs, if you just call them Kingdom Builders like I do, maybe some of you call them City Builders, maybe you call them 4X, maybe you call them SLS, etc. We're going to look at all of the Kingdom Builders that are currently in the top 200 grossing board of the Play Store. This data was pulled yesterday. I should make a note of that on March 8th. There's, I think, about 93, 94 games that I found within the top 200, specifically under the strategy section for the United States region category. Again, details matter. And so we're going to be looking today at which games have the most downloads, which games have the highest ratings, what the release date is. We're going to look at some Google Trend data for the top 5 games. We'll kind of show you off the top 10 most downloaded games right now for Kingdom Builders. And this is going to be, what I hope, a nice and healthy introduction into the genre of Kingdom Builders, right? So those of you that are out there and you're wondering, what's the best Kingdom Builder to play? What other Kingdom Builders are out there that I can try that maybe differ from what I'm playing? Maybe there's something else I'll find that I might like that has different features than what I'm currently playing. Maybe there's something newer that's out there. This is hopefully going to be a continued series where we really dive into a lot of those particulars. I am very much a purveyor and enjoyer of the series. So with all that in mind, as always, do not forget to hit us with that, as it helps to get this out to that, if you know what I mean. Okay, so first off, we have to define what is a Kingdom Builder. And a Kingdom Builder, to me, simply put, is a sandbox where you are plopped onto this piece of land and you are basically kind of just told to figure it out, right? In the traditional sense, if you play a lot of what we would refer to as average Kingdom Builders, you're usually populated into a kingdom or server, and you would level up your city, you would join alliances, you would maybe fight against other alliances, you would try to advance from zone to zone, or potentially from the outside going in, or maybe from the bottom up, and you would try to make it to the final area in order to either capture a final objective or maybe to complete some other tasks. And then you also have the variance of having some Kingdom Builders that have traditional home kingdoms, or they do things like seasonal resets. Games like that that come to mind would be ones like Call of Dragons, Lord of the Rings, Rise to War, etc. And so now let's give you an example, right? So here, this is Call of Dragons, and I'm just kind of going to give you a brief overview, right? So you would typically have your outer ring, and this actually might be a little bit easier well, no, that's fine. We'll just leave it like this. So you basically have like an outer ring, right? Which usually is commonly referred to as a Zone 1. This is very traditional. Even Rise of Kingdoms has a Zone 1. Infinity Kingdom, something like that's a little bit different because basically the entire map is open, even though it is still split up into zones where there's no passes. Rise to War has its own region sections, but again, they have kind of the seasonal resets that they go with. And Lords Mobile, right, has Data Survival has traditional home kingdoms or states or servers, if you will. But basically, you have an outside ring, and then which is comprised of your Zone 1. That's where usually the majority of players will start, and then they'll work into it like a Zone 2, right? So that would be something like this area here, Lorcan, right? So for example, this would be a Zone 1. You would come through a Zone 1, attack a level 2 pass, go into a Zone 2, right? And then Atherin here would be your Zone 3. So then you'd build your territory up, you would advance past the next gate and get into your final zone with, again, in this case, the level 8 dragon being your final objective. In Rise of Kingdoms, it's the Lost Temple, right? In other games, it's, Infinity Kingdoms, it's like your Contention of Lords, right? Then you're fighting for the last building at that time. So again, there are differences, but I just wanted to kind of set some foundation there so we're all kind of along the same page. Now, let's get to some of the interesting data. This is a sheet that I have been working on for a while. Oh, I have to update this for when it was last updated. That is 3.8, and then we'll do 24. Okay, I feel better now. So we're going to start by looking at some of the data here that we can for download. So this is actually already formatted. So you can see here, there's 93 games that I was able to find on the top 200 grossing board of the Play Store. After I went through all of the games, I basically either downloaded them and played through the tutorials so I could figure out if it falls into the realm of a kingdom builder or not. And if it didn't, then I put it here on my tab called Not Kingdom Builders, just so I don't end up kind of double dipping or doing a lot of additional work. So then you kind of see here, right, where we have the number of downloads, right, for some of the games. And if they don't have them, that just means that maybe they exited the top 200 on the board, and that's what I was mainly going off of. And so you can see here that we have 87 games, right? It's starting from 75,000 downloads at the moment, right, and then kind of working our way up. And you can see there's a lot of games that you have here. I mean, some that I think stand out to me, right, would be like one of the newer games, Era of Conquest. That was the one that I think you see that Benedict Cumberbatch ads for, right? It was currently at 280,000 downloads. You see, gosh, I'm working my way up here. Fire and Glory is another one. Grand Cross Age of Titans, that was that anime like Kingdom Builder that came out. You could see at 1.2 million. Someone had mentioned Kingdom Maker to me before, which is very interesting one there. But 1.8 million. You see Lord of Seas, which is a kind of a ship, kind of pirates like Kingdom Builder. So kind of a different approach there to the genre. They're at 2.4 million. Game of Kings, Clash of Kings, right, again, very similar, at least in their overall approach. But these are, I would say popularized or popular titles from what I've heard. You have another Sea of Conquest. We have the Blaze of Battle. That was one I had heard about as well. There was, the primitive. I can't remember if it was that one or the primitive era, but it's the one where like you're basically the caveman or kind of back in the early BC, if you will. And so you're kind of taking almost kind of like Wolf Game for those of you that have played Wolf Game. It's kind of similar in that sense, right? You kind of feel like you're in the Jungle Book, right? But you're just a part of the Wolf clan. Infinity Kingdom was a game I played for a while, 5.5 million. We kind of work our way up past there, and then we end up getting to Call of Dragons, the game I just showed off, right at 6.8. Wolf Game is right there too as well. We have Lord of the Rings, right, Rise to War, but I think now it's just kind of been simplified, and now it's just War at 9.1 million. Chief Almighty, that was the game I was thinking of there too as well. Didn't realize that some of these ant games really are, like there's an Ant Legion, and then there's like the Ants, I think, that there's another one for that. So that's very interesting when I touched on those. Whiteout Survival is kind of a newer, bit more popular game that's been getting some steam, 16 million downloads. Viking Rise at 16, Warpath, right, which is made from Lilith, same developer that does Rise of Kingdoms, right, 19 million. I remember playing Dominations for a really long time, and then my buddy actually plays West Game, who I've known for a while, 21 million downloads. Then we work our way to kind of the top 25, top 30 here. Right, you see Game of Thrones Conquest, Age of Apes. Right now you're kind of getting to like the 20 million plus download range. And then you see here, right, 30 million, 25 games that are 30 million and above. We work our way up. Let me see what else we got here, right? Final Fantasy, you got Brutal Age, War and Peace. There we go. The Ants. Look at that, 45 million downloads for that one. But, I mean, listen, man, you can make Kingdom Builders, I guess, out of anything these days. Right, then we got Age of Origins. We got Frost and Flame, King of Avalon, Last Guns of Glory. Right now you're kind of getting into this 50 mil plus range, right, for these 13 Kingdom Builders. And then you got, 7, that are at 70 million plus, right? Guns of Glory, Rise of Kingdoms, right? Obviously a fan crowd favorite. Stage of Survival still up there, right? You got 6 that are over 80. You got 4 that are over 90. Then you only have 2 games right now that have broken the 100 mil threshold, that being Ebony, King's Return, and Lords of Mobile, right? Which is now aptly titled as Godzilla Kong War for their name branch, but it's Lords of Mobile by default. And so you can see how that works. The interesting part, so we have like a DL difference, and that's download difference from when we pulled the data on the 19th of January up till now, right? So it's been a month and a half, and you can see here, right, which games are seeing the largest increases. To me, this is always fascinating when you think about where the game was. And this is kind of, to me, trending. Like, what games are really showing that there's a lot of interest, especially if they're newer games or if they're seeing big spikes. Like, this is a nutty spike here, right? From going War and Peace Civil War from 4.4 million downloads on January 19th is now at 45 plus million downloads as of yesterday, right? That's almost a 41 million increase in downloads. Like, that's just crazy. Then you see the big ones, right? Lords Mobile, Ebony, obviously with them being over 100 mil, you see they're still getting kind of plus 10 mil on the grossing there. I think this is actually a nice one, right? You look at just 27 for Doomsday, and that goes by 8 million. Age of Apes, 29 to 34, right? Seeing a plus 5 mil increase. Whiteout Survival went from 12 to 16, right? So that's a 33% bump off of that. You can see this one was at 5 million for Days of Empire, got 3.5 million new downloads. Sea of Conquest, look at this, a million, and then it got a big bump from 3.3, and now it's at 4.3 million total downloads. Like, to me, this is just very interesting, when you see kind of what the trends are, right? Where's a lot of the interest going across the Kingdom Builder scene as we see which games are really picking up a lot of traction and getting a lot of new downloads. Even down here, right, you look at like Primitive Era Nexus, right? They're at 3.3 million, and they're both seeing 2 million and 1.6. Like, those are really good numbers. I mean, 2 million, this is more than half. 1.6 is basically half, right? So they're, or half of what of the current downloaded numbers, right, for the increase they saw. So that, I just think that's just wild to see, and for me, again, I love that, being able to kind of see where's the focus, where are people kind of leaning towards. So now let's look at ratings, right? Which games at the moment have the highest ratings? So we have kind of in our top set that we have here. You have Zombie Age, Viral War. But again, this is a little bit of a newer game. You can see downloads here was 50,000, right? And then 75,000. I also have to see when Zombie Age, because we have dates here for the games too as well, right? This came out on August 10th of 2023, right? So it's been out 7 months at that point. Then you look at Survival Tactics Zombie State, right? You can see that went from 430 downloads, 430,000 to now 760, right? At a 4.7 rating. Hang on, what was, we have to make sure, Survival Tactics Zombie, so we'll look at Survival Tactics Zombie, right, that came out around the same time, right, so about 7 months old. Then we look at the next one, right, at some of the 4.6s, right, you'll see Ant Legion, Rise of Castles, Kiss of War, Era of Conquest, Chief Almighty, War Games, I think that was it, War Games Commander, right, that kind of rounds out our 4.6. And then you look at the 4.5s, right, it's Lord of Seas, Nexus, Walking Dead, Viking Rise, Age of Apes, Doomsday, that you see there, and the last one is Lords Mobile. And so this was interesting. So I did like a rating difference, right? So you can look at, did it increase by 0.1? Did it lose 0.1? So you can kind of see the biggest gains here on rating differences, right? And you can see the biggest one that actually got a big rating bump was Misty Continent, Curse Island, right? They went from having a 3.8 rating at 3.7 million downloads. They've got 100,000 more downloads in a month and a half, but they went up 0.5 on the rating up to a 4.3. Like, that's just a massive jump when you think about where they were compared to where they are now. And then you look at the next biggest one, right, which is Nexus War Civilization. They were at 3.3 million downloads. They got a 1.6 million bump in downloads at almost 5 mil, but they also saw a 0.2 increase on rating, right? So they went from 4.3 to 4.5. And then you see, really, there was only 9 games that saw a rating bump. Right, that being starting with Ebony here that you can see, and then going up, right? So we have, actually here, watch, we'll do it like this. This might be easier to see. So you see Ebony, right, getting a 0.1, so they went from 3.7 to 3.8. Era of Conquest, 4.5 to 4.6. Zombie Age, 4.7 to 4.8. I mean, that's pretty massive when you're already that high. I kind of like to view it where if you're kind of like low to mid 4s and you're going up, like, that has to be a good thing. It almost feels like it's maybe harder to do that at the higher end up to the perfect 5, right, compared to if you're kind of in the 3s, so to speak, where you might be able to see bigger jumps in that case, right, very similar to what Misty Content did. And then if we look on the opposite end, right, which games are going down in bumps, right, you can see there's a list here, right, of games that saw decreases in their overall. At the top of the board, you can see we have Survival Tactics was at a 4.9, right? Then ended up going to a 4.7, so they lost 2 points. Return of Shadow, right, going from 4.4 to 4.2. You see War and Peace going from 4.3 to 4.1. We have Project Entropy going from 4.2 to 4.0. And then the last 0.2 decrease was Lord of the Rings Rise to War. They were at 3.4. Wow, now at 3.2. So, you can see that, and again, along with these other ones that saw decreases, right, which looks to be, hang on, let's see. So how many games in total? If we go over here and we look at count numbers, it's 21. So we see 21 games that lost ratings over the past month and a half. If we look at games that have the lowest ratings right now, you could see that's Lord of the Rings Rise to War 3.2, right? You have how many games? We have 16 games that are below 4 as a rating right now, right? Astro Kings, Last Empire, War and Order, Ebony, Clash of Kings, Clash of Queens, March of Empires, Blaze Battle, Z-Day, Final Fantasy, Rise of Firstborn, Grand Cross, Brutal Age, Mobile Strike, Game of War, and Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it is somewhat fascinating, right? When you look at how that. Now let's look at where are the games ranked, right? So if we look at where they're ranked right now, oops, hang on, we'll do it this way. So if we look at ranked, again, this is on the grossing. This is on the top 200 grossing board for the Play Store. Whiteout Survival right now is ranked number 2, right? You see Ebony, right? So you look at the games that are kind of within the top 10. It's Whiteout Survival at number 2, Ebony at number 4, Age of Origins at number 6. Interesting how this like split by 2 each time. Rise of Castles, Ice and Fire is at number 8. Total Battle, War Strategy at number 9. Last Shelter at number 10. And then you kind of start getting into, your next top 20 here. Where you have your State of Survival, Lords Mobile, Frost and Flame, Rise of Kingdoms, Sea of Conquest, War and Order. And then, if we scroll down, right, you'll be able to see a few more. We'll kind of show this off too as well for those that might just want to, kind of look and pause. But let's see here. We'll go to 42. And then you can see, right, kind of where each of the games rank. Now, this is something I'll also be doing kind of a plus minus on each month. Whether it is each month or not, again, my hope is to try and have it be each month. And then you kind of have some of the ones that are a little bit lower on the boards, right, with your Days of Empire, Rise of Firstborn, War of Destiny, War Games Commander, Stormfall, Rise of Balor, right, kind of going there for your kind of bottom 5, hopefully being able to have some opportunities to work their way up. And then, I guess the last thing I can show off, right, we'll go back here, not one of the last things, but I want to show off a little bit of dates, right? So to me, I think dates are really important when we look at, when were Kingdom Builders introduced versus which ones are a little bit newer. And so, which is always kind of for me, always an interesting, kind of history lesson, if you will. So if we look, I have to go all the way to the top for this, though. So if we look at the top, right, you can see some of the earliest Kingdom Builders, right, being King's Empire, which was released on February 20th, 2013, along with Empire for Kingdoms, which was released on, June, January, February, March, April, May, June? Okay, good. I had to count that on my fingers. June 24th, 2013. Right, Game of War is obviously a popular one. It was not the one with the Kate Upton commercial, I think, that they had going on, but this is, if I have the name right, May 7th, 2014, War of Nations, PvP strategy, right? So these are some early ones. I mean, you have 2 games that were made in 2013. You could see there was 5 in 2014. We have 5 again in 2015. 2016 actually saw a really big bump. You had 17 Kingdom Builders that were then made in 2016. And then as we go to 2017, we look at, right, a little bit lower. You had 9 that came out in 2017. 2018, we saw 10. 2019, we saw 6, so kind of getting a little bit lower. 2020, we saw, and bear in mind, these are just games that are on the top 200 board. This does not account for all Kingdom Builders in existence. 6 from the top 200 there. Then you have 7 in 2021. We have 6 in 2022. And then 2023 saw a big jump, right? 17 Kingdom Builders that made it into the top 200 grossing were released in 2023, right? I mean, which to me, I think is a great sign that the genre is still thriving. It's still active. There's still a lot of interest here as well. And then 2 so far in 2024, at least that have made the top 24 board. Then the last thing I want to show you guys is some Google Trends, right? I thought this would be really cool. So if we look at the top 5 games that have the most downloads at the moment, you can kind of see where the trends are, right? Where, we're going back to like 2009. Where we're looking worldwide, we're looking for the games, or we're looking for web search category. And you can see here that Ebony having a lot of attention here early on, especially in 2009. You could see this, right? And then I think we get to 2010. And then the drop-off kind of starts, right? Small peak here back in Jan 2020 or 2012. And then you can kind of see, now let's look past 5 years, because I think that graph will be a little bit more relevant. And then you see here, right, with the titles once again, right? Ebony still having a lot of attention, right? Kind of dropping off a bit, but then you start seeing Ebony just getting this crazy spike, right? Where they just like almost explode around August 2021. Small dip, but they've been and then again, look at this, right? From a year pretty much, where there's just kind of this upward, and yeah, it is going a little bit down at the moment, but still, even if you look at where they're at now, right? You see Ebony, Lords Mobile is still there, but Mobile Strike, Clash of Kings, Game of War really isn't getting that same interest level at the moment, just when we look at the top 5. And again, I'll aim and hope to expand on this going forward, right? Where we can look at trends for, which games have the most concurrent viewers, which games have the most activity that's going to them, what are unique differences between Kingdom Builders for features that they offer to the player base, which games are maybe the most free-to-play friendly versus others. These are things that I love talking about, and I hope for those of you that are still here, right, you're enjoying hearing and listening about. So last thing we'll do is we're just going to take a quick look at the top 10 most downloaded games, just so I can show you what they look like in case you might be interested. So, right, Lords Mobile, right, came in at number 1. We have Ebony, The King's Return, that came in at number 2. Clash of Kings came in at number 3. We have Game of War, Fire Age, came in at number 4. We have Mobile Strike, that came in at number 5. That's our boy Arnold. The number 6 is State of Survival. Number 7, Rise of Kingdoms. Number 8 is Guns of Glory. And number 9, Last Empire War Z. And then the number 10 most downloaded Kingdom Builder, again, within the top 200 grossing, Frost and Flame. And that pretty much sums us up, right, for this kind of introductory video. I really hope you guys like this one. I know there might be a question on, hey, boss, are you going to make the sheet public? I'm very much thinking about it, and I think I might do something similar to what I do for my top 25 series that I do in Call of Dragons, where we look at all the kingdoms across the game, and we pull top 25 data for things like top 25 alliances, players, free-to-play players, etc. And I might do something like that where I'll just kind of release the data on a public sheet month to month. I don't know if I'll do it this month, but if you are someone who's interested and you'd love to see the data, let me know in the comments below. I'd also would love to know if you have any ideas on how I can expand on this, other things that we can show off, other approaches that we can provide. Let me know as well, and maybe just your general thoughts. Do you like, do you not like? What were some things that you thought were interesting? Was there things you learned that you didn't know? I'd love to hear down there in the comments below, and that's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.